Ooh, spooky candle time. You'll notice the candle is different this time round. That's because I tried to record this video earlier with the other candle I had, the one with the orange glow to it, and it exploded. I may upload the video at some point if you want to see me shit my pants. Anyway, today's entry in the 24 Ghost Stories for Christmas is the short story The Empty House by Algernon Blackwood. Algernon Blackwood released this story in 1906 along as part of a collection of some of his other work. Algernon Blackwood at the time was heralded by many as the greatest writer of the ghost story genre, by none other than H.P. Lovecraft himself. Since then, M.R. James has probably become more recognisable as the most eminent ghost story writer. However, Algernon Blackwood's stories are fantastic. So the story we're talking about is The Empty House, and it's a story about a man who goes to visit his aunt. His aunt has called him to the house because she's recently received a key. This key is to a local house that is abandoned, where supposedly all manner of ghostly goings on occur. She wants to spend the aunt wants to spend the night in this house, and although she's very interested in the supernatural and she wants to investigate it, she invites her nephew because he's renowned for being brave and strong, so she feels that she'll be more comfortable with him by her side. So the nephew decides to go along out of interest. So the aunt and the nephew go to this house, and once they get there, they're presented to all manner of spooky goings on. Many of the things that happen in this story probably seem quite cliched by now, but you've got to remember that a lot of these things, the noises, the faces appearing from nowhere out of the darkness, these sort of things within the haunted house genre were pioneered by people like Algernon Blackwood. His stories are really accessible, they're presented in a really enjoyable way, and The Empty House, I think, is very atmospheric, it's fun, and it centres around the fact that there was a gruesome murder within the empty house previously in its history. A manservant murdered his lover, who was a maid, by throwing her off of the third flight of stairs in the house. I'm not really ruining things because this is stated at the beginning of the story. That's what even before they go into the house. So they then see reenactments of things that have happened in the house and try to get to the bottom of why all this sort of thing's going on and just sort of experience it. I mean, what I like about this story is that I suppose in many ways it doesn't have the typical ghost story mystery, really. It's more about the experience of spending a night in a haunted house, and if you're going to read any short story which really makes you think of that, it's going to be this one. I was going to do this, and I am going to do it as part of my Ghastly Tales series, where I narrate a bunch of different ghost stories. That's why I held off from doing any more, because there are some ghost stories within this list that I'm going to talk about, and then I'll subsequently upload narration of the story. So that's the 3rd of December. That's The Empty House by Algernon Blackwood. I will leave a link down below to the story if you wish to read it, but I will be uploading a narration of the story at some point. I would definitely go and check it out. It's a really enjoyable story. It's very spooky, and you know, for like a half an hour of your time you get a self-contained brilliant little haunted house story, and I think it has inadvertently went on to influence a lot of other ghost story writers, and maybe even those in film, because there are elements of it. There's a moment, and I don't want to ruin it, but there's a moment within the story which really reminded me of like something like The Grudge, you know. It reminded me of more like sort of J-horror. So I found that really interesting. So anyway, go and check that out, The Empty House, and I will be back tomorrow, I think. Yes, I will. I hope this candle doesn't explode.